Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to the SOS Intelligence Studios once again. I am your host, John Moss, and I'm delighted to welcome back our threat intelligence analyst, Daniel Collier. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, John.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you very much. Yeah, it's nice to be back and getting some good content out there. So hopefully everyone is going to enjoy our session today and come back and leave with a little bit of extra knowledge that they didn't have before.
Well, doing the research for today's webinar and obviously the practice that we've done, I have learned a lot about steganography. So that is what we're going to be looking at, everybody, understanding steganography. And we've got some great examples for you, some steg analysis and a few other little gems as well. Before we start, a little bit of housekeeping. Do go and have a look at sosintel.co.uk and sign up for our newsletter. You can see that on one of the banners there. And we'll also tell you a little bit more about SOS Intelligence at the end of today's session. As always, we do welcome questions. We're using the Livestorm webinar platform, and you can click the questions button, which is bottom right on your screen, and submit a question, and we will try and answer those during today's session. We've also got some polls. You can see the polls tab next to the questions tab, and if you wouldn't mind answering those polls, that would be really useful for us to find out a little bit about your what you've been doing. So, steganography, Daniel, this is fascinating, and I've got to admit I had heard of it but didn't fully understand it until now. So what is it? Let's make a start. What is steganography?
Yeah, so basically steganography is a way of hiding information by burying it within another medium. So as opposed to encryption, which makes the message very hard to understand and see, but you know the message is there, steganography hides the message within another transfer mechanism. So by doing that, you kind of protect, it's another layer of security. You kind of protect yourself, and it's especially useful when you kind of having sent the message itself can be dangerous to the sender. So for example, if you were in a country which has very strict internet monitoring laws and you wanted to get a message out, sending that message out might be deemed a criminal offense. But if you were to hide that within legitimate internet traffic that's going in and out all the time, then it's less likely you are to get caught.
Right.
So there are three basic concepts that cover steganography. The first is the concealment, which is the idea of hiding the message within another medium, such as an image, file, audio, video, and there are numerous others which we'll cover shortly. The second is is the carrier medium, which is your type of file which you're hiding it in, and the last is the payload. So that is kind of your actual message and kind of what you're trying to convey.
Got it. And something that surprised me is that it does go back a long time in history, doesn't it? It's not. This isn't new, is it?
It's not. No, there are some fascinating examples of steganography used throughout history. The Greeks were very, very good at this. In fact, the word steganography comes from the Greek for hidden message. And what they would do is they'd shave prisoners' heads and then tattoo the messages onto their heads and then wait for their hair to grow back and then send them on their way. So they were literally hiding it underneath their hair, and it's just a fascinating way of transferring data. And obviously, as the world's progressed, there have become more and more technological advances. With the invention of the printing press, people were able to hide information in full stops in documents, and then that evolved more into the microdot technology, which was used quite extensively in World War II, kind of hiding information in very, very small fonts, and other such devices.
Fascinating. Gosh. So it's not new. We've just got so it has got ancient origins, right back to medieval and even earlier than that. And as you've just explained, we've got these technological advances which are now relatively well understood and increasingly used. And we cover both legitimate and illegitimate means a little bit later on today's session. Again, something with the research we were doing, it was interesting to see people's perception of steganography versus cryptography. So could you just give us a bit more of a bit of clarity on this?
Yeah. Okay. So the key differences between the two. Steganography hides the fact that the communication is happening by embedding the message within innocuous data. So you're not hiding the fact that there is data being transferred, but you're lying about what the content is, or there's something extra in the content that shouldn't be there. Whereas cryptography renders the message unreadable. It goes through mathematical processes to make it look gobbledygook. It's completely irreadable to anyone unless you have the specific key to decrypt it.
Gotcha.
Now, so steganography is ideal for covert operations when you don't want that message to be found, for evading censorship, and it also finds quite a large use in digital watermarking. Cryptography is more useful for making communication secure, protecting data, and such as with financial transactions. But the best thing is to use them both. You can use cryptography to encrypt the message and then embed the encrypted message into your transfer medium.
Okay. So and that sometimes happens, using both.
Absolutely, it's making the best of both worlds. Even if then someone does find your message hidden in this other file, they can't read it because it's encrypted.
Belt and braces.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's really clear now. So we've understood what steganography is, a little bit about the origins. We've got steganography versus cryptography and the fact that they're used together on occasion. And now let's move on to the types of steganography, because there are quite a few. And we've got a nice little diagram here of a basic steganography model. And this is from a particular Medium site, TravionHenry.medium.com. So this is the basic steganography model. Just and this made quite a bit of sense to me. This was quite nicely done, I think. Yeah, if you could give us a little bit of an explanation on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see from on the top left there, you've got your secret message, and you've got your cover, which is your transfer mediums. This could be your image, your audio file, your video file, and then they're being combined together within a steganography tool, which will then encode the secret message within the transfer medium itself. This will can then get transferred across the communication channel and then decoded at the other end to extract the message out.
Got it. Okay. That's very good. And something you alluded to when explaining in the first couple of minutes about what steganography is, there's quite a few different types, isn't there? And the first one, I think it's a good one to start with is text steganography. Could you let us know a little bit about this? And then we've got image, audio, and also video, which we'll give a few more details on. So, but first of all, text.
Yeah, so text-based steganography involves concealing messages within kind of normal text. So you can employ techniques such as white space manipulation, which could be maybe playing around with the spaces in between words and kind of sentences to make a little bit of a code. So you could have maybe a single space as a dot and a double space as a dash, and you can hide Morse code within a message, and then that can be decoded that way. It can be formatting changes, so you can maybe subtly make letters within the message a different size or a slightly different font. So when those letters are then extracted, that makes up the message that you're trying to portray. Or you can embed it within the metadata as well. So detecting text-based steganography is a bit of a challenge due to its it's a seamless integration with legitimate data. There's not really much kind of hiding it within the file. It is the file itself. It's just the way it's being portrayed, and a lot of these things will be very kind of innocuous to the naked eye. You won't be able to really look at something and say, oh yeah, there's a pattern of single spaces or double spaces, or those letters are a slightly different font, because more often than not, they'll pick two fonts that look very, very similar.
Got it.
So kind of, yeah, standard detection methods often overlook kind of such covert communications. So you do tend towards needing kind of quite advanced algorithms and tools to kind of look for steganography used in this manner. So in practice, text-based steganography often finds applications in espionage and covert communication, where concealing a message and content is quite critical for operational security. It's used in digital rights management to kind of embed ownership information within documents discreetly. And this helps to kind of safeguard your intellectual property rights.
Right. Okay. That is very good. Yeah, and text is something that, perhaps people don't realize the fact that it actually can be done using text. I've remember when doing the research, I was sort of more focused on images and things like that. But yeah, text is fascinating. So looking at image steganography. So tell us a little bit about this. This is really interesting.
This is where things start to get a little bit more technical. Now you're playing around with the image, and you're playing around kind of at the bit level. So it's a lot more technological advance, but again, it kind of has its uses, has its challenges, has its applications, and it has its way of being detected. So whenever you use image steganography, the important thing is that when you embed the message within the image itself, as it looks to the naked eye, is not altered. You will not be able to tell a difference just by looking at the image. However, there are certain things going on in the background. If you look at kind of the code behind it, if you kind of do some spectral analysis, maybe there are some kind of certain differences. So there's several different ways you can kind of use image steganography. There's least significant bit insertion, and this involves replacing the least significant bit of each pixel. So this will be, if you imagine 8 bits in a pixel, they'll change the most far right bit to something else. If it's a 0, 1, if it's a 1, a 0, and they'll convey the message that way. So this does take time, because you'd essentially need 8 bytes to convey 1 byte of data, but it's a good way of hiding it without affecting the image too much.
Wow.
So there's phase encoding, which kind of the phase of the image's frequency domain representation is subtly modified to encode information. It's more robust against detection, but requires more kind of computational resources to encode and decode. And then there's spread spectrum. So similar to its use in telecommunications, kind of spread spectrum steganography spreads the hidden data over the entire frequency of the spectrum in the image. So you're kind of at the different layers of color. You're making subtle changes which don't affect the overall image, but when taken individually, then it does kind of start to you can see some subtle changes. Again, good resistance to detection, making it kind of a popular choice in covert communication. The challenges with this is kind of maintaining imperceptibility. It's quite crucial in image-based steganography to ensure that the carrier image remains unchanged. And these techniques must be kind of very, very fine-tuned to avoid introducing visible artifacts. You don't want to go changing parts of the image and all of a sudden it's a different color, or there's random pixels that are different and out of place, because that is going to kind of give the game away a little bit. And again, image steganography used, again, secure data transmission. It's getting the messages across in innocuous data, digital watermarking as well. So artists will kind of add in their own kind of indicators in there to show that this is my proprietary information. So it might not look like it's on the image, but it's based in there somewhere, so someone can't then later claim it's their work when it isn't.
Clever stuff. That's amazing. And image steganography, I mean, it's kind of part of what we're going to talk about next, which is video steganography. This is taking it one step further, really, isn't it? But we're going to cover audio steganography first. I beg your pardon. I got the slightly out of order there. Apologies, everybody. So audio steganography. Go for that, Daniel. Tell us a bit about this.
Yeah. I mean, it does what it says on the tin, really. It is basically hiding a message within an audio file. And some of the techniques are very, very similar. So again, we've got targeting the least significant bit and making some substitutions in there. Spread spectrum techniques again, and also echo hiding. So this kind of embeds the data by subtly modifying the delay times between echoes in the audio signal. So, and this method is quite effective as it doesn't really noticeably affect the audio quality. So that's kind of what you're going for there. You want to kind of embed the message in without impacting what the audio sounds like. So that's kind of the crucial element to that, and the biggest challenge to using it is kind of making sure you aren't impacting any playback, and you don't want all of a sudden an audio file that's just very, very grainy or kind of jumps around a little bit because something's going wrong there. So this is kind of the challenges that people face when they're trying to use it. And very, very similar to the others, often using covert communication. And this is one of the biggest ones for kind of digital watermarking and copyright protection. This was a big thing, kind of, turn of the millennium, when everyone kind of had, home PCs were becoming a lot more, MP3 players were coming out, so people were ripping music off of CDs onto their computers and then uploading them onto
file sharing
onto the devices. And so
I remember something called, do you remember Winamp?
Vaguely remember Winamp. It was
I'm showing my age now.
Napster, Kazaa, LimeWire, which was kind of considered that's considered an SDI for computers. It was so riddled with viruses that you don't really want to touch that. But
old school. Sorry, I digress.
Yes, a little off topic there, but reminiscing about the past. But it's a lot of production companies would use steganography to basically add in their digital watermarks and their copyright protections to prevent audio being transferred from one device to another. So you can have it on the CD, but you wouldn't really be able to take it off that one and add it onto an MP3 player, because the DRM would stop you from doing that.
Gosh, got it. Okay, very interesting. And last but not least, video steganography.
Yeah, absolutely. This point, now we're getting kind of more and more complex, affecting videos, because there's so much data being transferred. You've got to be very, very careful, because if you start playing around with it too much, your video quality is going to drop. It's going to affect the synchronization of the data, especially when you have two different channels for audio and video. Things start matching up. It's going to start to look a bit suspicious. So some of the techniques you can use here is frame manipulation. So you can, most videos, in order to kind of flow smoothly, they're going to be around about 30 frames a second. So you've got quite a lot of data there to be able to play with. You can then start altering certain frames within that, or even certain pixels in certain frames, just to convey that message across. There's the transform domain techniques. So you've got kind of discrete cosine transform, discrete wavelet transform. These modify the coefficients in the transform domain to embed the data, and these kind of offer a little bit more robustness against kind of compression and noise within when kind of compared to other techniques. And then there's kind of motion vector modification. So this kind of adjusts the motion vectors used in compression standards, and this kind of exploits the movement of objects within frames to conceal the data effectively. So if there's something moving around on the screen, you can kind of hide the data as that object moves around, and any kind of adjustments to the video can kind of be put down. Okay, that object's moving around, so it's harder to see. And again, like some of the others, it's a lot of digital rights management's involved with their covert surveillance and secure video transmission.
Got it. I think I remember reading an article a while back, and I think it was someone who was prosecuted for distributing a one of these film preview screeners, and they hadn't realized there was some of this, probably some sort of DRM video steganography in the copy that they leaked, and it was very specific to them, and basically it just said it's from this person. They looked into it.
It's fascinating stuff.
It's crazy. Okay, this is great. So we've covered text steganography, image steganography, audio, and now video. So moving on now, we've mentioned a few of these, but this is just in a little bit more detail. This is the actual applications of steganography. So, and this is divided quite nicely into two, legitimate and not so legitimate. So first of all, the legitimate ones. So we've talked about the digital watermarking, covert communication, protecting sensitive data, but also research and development as well. That's important, isn't it?
Yeah, I think people are always kind of looking at, okay, we have this tool, this technique, and what can we use it more further? So is there any other real world applications for steganography? So that there are masses of people out there researching this. I came across quite a few kind of academic articles relating to steganography and its uses, kind of beyond the standard digital watermarking, covert communication, and kind of protection of data. So its use is always expanding. Got
it. And then the other side of the coin, the illegitimate uses of steganography. This is incredible.
Yeah, and this is why we're here. This is kind of for the cybersecurity professionals. This is the part we want to hear about. Yeah. So it's as much as it does have its good uses. You can kind of communicate messages. It's good for spycraft, and it's good for getting messages out of places which are kind of being oppressed by their governments or whatever, and they need to get a message to the outside world. But as with anything, if a communication method has a legitimate use, it has an illegitimate use. So as much as there are the good guys are using it for communicating, so are the bad guys, and it's particularly kind of among terrorism and hostile nation state actors. They need to get their messages. They need to be able to communicate without being attention being on them, and without drawing the attention of the authorities. They need to be able to get those messages across. So they are going to use kind of steganography to hide those messages. And it kind of has actually reminded me of an episode of BBC Sherlock, where I think there's one episode where they use symbols to communicate with people, and they translate to Chinese numbers, and those numbers then translate to roads and streets within the London A to Z book.
Oh, right.
And that's how they're communicating the messages across. But I think, more importantly for the cyber security side of things, it's very good for concealing malicious code. You can hide payloads in innocent-looking files. You can hide instructions for malware in there, and it's a great way of being a very, very carefully controlling and running malware. It is kind of a little more kind of laborious. It does take longer to do everything, because you're having to encode and decode at the victim site. You have to make sure that when you do decode, that's not being detected anywhere. But it is very, very good at getting your payload from A to B without anyone really, really noticing.
Got it. Okay. So malicious code, criminal communication, digital piracy, which we talked about, and also, of course, espionage and terrorism. So sadly, there's the legitimate side, the illegitimate side, as well as the legitimate side. So now, looking at steganography in practice, this is getting fascinating and fun as well. So we've got this next slide for you all to see. This is our logo, or two versions of the logo. And tell us a little bit more about this, and then let me know when you'd like the next slide.
Absolutely, I think I can move it across as well. So,
go for it.
I'll take the wheel. Right. Go. So here, as I said before, we have two images here. Now, at the naked eye, they look exactly identical. You can't tell anything apart from these two images. If you can, then you're seeing something that there definitely isn't there. But the key factor is one of these images is hiding a message. So how do we know which one? So we've got here the ignoring the fact that they have different file names. These are the two files. So we have the one on the left is for the actual image, and the one on the right for the image that has a hidden stego message in there. So we can see ever so slight variations in some of their metadata that are created at different times, and oddly enough, the stego image is actually smaller.
Oh.
So what we've done here, I've used a tool called steghide. It's a command line tool I've just run through one of my Ubuntu virtual machines, and what that's done is that's taken a text file, and that's encrypted that, hidden it within the image, and then compressed it. So it's actually tried as much as possible to keep the same kind of the same volume on the disk. So it's trying to hide itself that way as well. I mean, you can see there it's a matter of 28 bytes difference, and the size on the disk it takes is exactly the same. So it is trying to hide itself as much as possible. There are some kind of subtle differences if we start digging further. So this is kind of the hex dump, the first kind of 100 or so characters here. So we can see it's a JPEG image. So we've got the first line is always going to be the same. That identifies it as a JPEG. But it's after that when things start changing, and you can see from left to right significant changes in kind of the hex makeup of the image.
Goodness
and then
me.
I've taken it a little bit further using a tool kind of called a Perisolve. It's an online tool, but also works on the command line as well. And this kind of breaks up the image and kind of analyzes a little bit. And one of the things it does is spectral analysis. So it'll look at the different colors within the image, kind of as we discussed earlier with the image steganography. It's kind of affecting the different levels of the image, and we get this monstrosity. But you can kind of see there are, as much as it is kind of a little bit hurtful on the eyes, there are some differences there between each image. So you can see, particularly in the at the top of the image on the right, there's a lot more kind of black pixels there. Down at the bottom, there's a little kind of red pixel that's appeared on the red one as well. So you can see there are some differences there. And this is where the kind of one level, and when you do it on AperiSolve, it does give you multiple levels of data. I've just kind of picked one that kind of showcases the differences the best. So there are kind of a lot of differences at different levels, and this is where the data is actually being hidden. It's in the data for those pixels.
Very clever. Goodness me.
And what
that really does show that. It's interesting to see the original images, what's behind them, and then the spectral analysis as well. So that's very nicely done. Thank you.
And the AperiSolve does actually have steghide within it as well. So it's actually managed to extract the message. So we've downloaded that. Open the file that's hidden in there, and here we go.
Goodness me, that's astonishing, and I think it's also very interesting to know that there's tools available which allow people to do this relatively straightforward. It's not something if you looked into it, you could learn how to do it pretty easily, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I obviously used steghide on one of my Ubuntu virtual machines, and that's just a very, very simple install. It's a one line of code to install, and it's ready to go, and it's very, very simple to embed and extract images.
Goodness. And so detecting steganography, detecting if people do something like this is another great word, steganalysis, which is I know we just share with everybody who's tuning in today. We were doing the practice, and we're just desperate to say stegosaurus at some point, but we haven't quite worked sort of worked that into the webinar. But I'm hoping a few of you have thought of the word stegosaurus as well. So steganalysis. What is steganalysis, Daniel?
Okay, so steganalysis is the process of uncovering the hidden messages or the information that's been concealed within digital media. So unlike steganography, which focuses on hiding the information, steganalysis is looking to reveal it. And this is particularly important in contexts where you don't want any unauthorized communication or any covert operations may pose security threats. And the purpose of it is to kind of discern what's normal, unaltered data, and what data has been manipulated to include concealed information. And kind of by identifying suspicious patterns or deviations from expected norms within digital files, analysts can then kind of flag potential security breaches or illicit activities. Steganography does use there's a variety of methodologies to detect hidden data, and this is kind of becoming more and more kind of prevalent as time goes on, and kind of machine learning, AI is really, really helping with that. And kind of a lot more people now relying on kind of file hashing as a way of kind of a basis for detection, especially when you look at his data being transferred out. A lot more kind of forensic techniques now exist to kind of delve into the metadata and kind of binary structures of digital media in order to identify when it's been altered and when there is something in there that shouldn't be. Kind of detecting it is really, really a big challenge. Advanced steganography, kind of way more advanced than the example I've shown today. It can embed information in ways that are imperceptible to human senses or even standard digital analysis tools. Moreover, kind of, I think the big challenge of all is just the sheer volume of digital media we are transferring on a daily basis. How
where do you
monitor that? All of that. How do you monitor all that without causing a significant traffic jam? It's very, very difficult. It does have such a crucial role in cybersecurity and digital forensics. it does help to uncover these covert communications, detect intellectual property theft, identify digital espionage activities, and prevent cyber attacks that utilize kind of these hidden channels for data exploitation or malware propagation.
Gosh, I think that's, there's the question, where do you start? What do you look at? How, like you say, the sheer volume that's available to somebody for steg analysis, let alone the actual analysis and being able to find something that's, had a great deal of thought put into it to hide it. And there are techniques and tools available, and we've got some of the common ones here. So if you could let us know a little bit about these, that would be fantastic, Daniel.
Yeah, so if we start off with kind of feature-based analysis, and that kind of looks at examining specific characteristics or features within digital media, such as image files. So, for example, it will look at changes in color channels or unusual patterns in spatial frequency. And you can focus on these. Analysts can then identify kind of steganographic alterations that are not immediately apparent to the naked eye. And this kind of harks back to, the crazy images I showed earlier, where there are subtle differences, not only visible by kind of looking at kind of the spectral and spatial frequency.
Got it.
And then, we kind of move on to kind of statistical techniques. Anomalies in statistical properties, such as kind of entry levels or pixel value distributions. These can signal presence of hidden information, because things are at different levels than they should be. They're in the wrong place that they should be. And with these, you can kind of get a base level of what your file should be, and if there's anything kind of going against the norm, you start delving into kind of behavioral analysis, and then something's not quite right. Let's park that and have a look at that. Machine learning is invaluable for steg analysis. It's automating processes a lot. It takes a lot of strain off analysts and the manual processes they go through to identify steganographic media. Machine learning can kind of learn and retain patterns and kind of use those to kind of help find more patterns and find the files within data. Forensic tools, there's a plethora of forensic tools out there which are designed to kind of do deep analysis of digital media, this is what the kind of law enforcement use, what the security services will use to really kind of go over transferred files and data to try and find those hidden messages being used by the criminal element. For the most part, you want to be looking at hybrid approaches, so kind of combining multiple strategies and techniques in order to overall enhance the accuracy of finding these steganographic files.
Got it. And some real world examples of steg analysis. There's a couple we've got for everybody today. So case study one, the Russian spy ring.
Absolutely, So in 2010, it was there's a high profile espionage case in the US involving a Russian spy ring. And so the spies were actually using steganography to embed encrypted instructions within digital images, and these were then publicly posted onto websites. So anyone could go to these websites and they'd look completely harmless, completely innocuous. You wouldn't expect that there's anything on there. It just did what it looked like it should do. But by breaking down those images, they could then send messages to other members of the spy ring. And that's how they were sharing intelligence, how they were communicating with each other, trying to keep it under the radar. And it was only by kind of, law enforcement finding these images and being able to kind of apply some of these steg analysis techniques in order to find, which images had the messages, and eventually decoding the messages, where they're able to identify the presence of the ring and then subsequently, take the spy ring down, leading on to kind of, prosecutions and inevitably, removing said people from the country.
Very good. So almost you could say hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of the basis of steganography is it's kind of the message. Yeah, the message. Yeah, is hidden, but the transfer medium is still very much there. But looking like your everyday image.
And was this similar for case study 2, the cyber criminal network? Or
Slightly different. This is in 2018. So cybersecurity professionals encountered a quite sophisticated criminal network, and they leveraged audio steganography to conceal malware commands within seamlessly harmless music files. And these were distributed through various online platforms. So this is not music going through Spotify, not going through your Apple Store, through Amazon Music or wherever. This is kind of going through your Pirate Bays, through your torrent sites, and getting out into the real world through less than legal means.
Got it.
So kind of in order to kind of understand how the criminal network was communicating, analysts using specialized tools to look at audio files, and were able to kind of pick out that these malware commands were hidden in the audio files. And from that, you start picking out, there's a little bit of, there's an IP address here, which is just command and control server. And so you start picking out these really useful bits of information, which then lead on to identifying, where's their infrastructure? Who's bought that infrastructure? That's your person who's controlling the criminal network. That's who you go after. That's who you arrest. So by being able to pick out those bits of information, they're able to kind of identify, who's responsible. But also then they can kind of see, these are the commands that are going out, and then they can start taking steps to mitigate that as well. Whenever these files are out there, they could start putting things in place to stop those commands from working correctly.
Got it. Gosh, so like a digital fingerprint, and which people can then use to circumvent what they're trying to do, but also arrest the people who are involved.
Yeah.
Wow, very good. So I hope you've all agree that we've looked quite in detail to steganography, looking at the steg analysis, looking at the types of steganography, looking at illegitimate versus legitimate uses as well. So Daniel, thank you very much indeed for that. And what we'd like to do now, just briefly, because we're just coming to the end, we do have time for some questions. So do feel free to add those if you like. We'll try and answer them. For people who perhaps aren't aware of precisely what SOS Intelligence actually does and the platform, could you just tell them a little bit about what we do?
We are a digital intelligence company. Our primary focus is kind of the collection of data. So within your intelligence cycle, that's where we sit firmly in the collection side. Obviously, with me being an analyst, I can do some of the evaluation and analysis work as well, a little bit of dissemination as well. But we firmly sit within the collection, and we are out there monitoring primarily the dark web, but also we're looking at tens of hundreds of criminal forums, paste sites. We collect data from phishing kits, from stealer logs, data breaches, and the idea is to make that available to our clients so that they can then use that intelligence to better control and assess their own cyber risk.
Got it. And let's make no bones about it. Cyber risks are increasing. Cyber threats are increasing. It's not going to go away. And this kind of the ability for people to understand what's going on is not limited to any particular sector or vertical or organization. It could happen to anybody, couldn't it? And we try, and we talk about, this is on our website, the business risk insight using cyber threat intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no one is safe these days. I think, yeah, there used to be certain places where cyber criminals wouldn't go, but yeah, now
It's
I think
gloves off now, isn't it? It's anything.
it is. Yeah, anything goes. I mean, yeah, for the most part, if you look at the terms and conditions for any ransomware affiliate, it's as long as you don't target um, yeah CIS states, it's fair game.
Wow.
Anyone now. So yeah, big or small, yeah,
Yeah.
public sector, private sector,
Healthcare,
yeah, yeah,
hospitals.
yeah. You're fair game as long as you've got the money to pay. They'll lock your systems up, steal your data, and demand you pay for it back.
Yikes. And we're very proud to be trusted by some very well known organizations and brands. And I think just summing up, if you don't know what has happened or is happening, you can't do anything about it. You're blind to the danger. And this is where the platform really enables people to know, have they been breached? Is someone talking about a breach? Is somebody talking about data that's available? And it's as simple as a keyword, isn't it? Or particular domain or a keyword where people can monitor things that are of interest to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's as I say, we have such a broad, wide coverage of the dark places of the internet that it is such a valuable resource to be able to have that at your fingertips. And I think our alerting system has been quite invaluable to certain clients. We do have really good success cases where people have been made aware very, very quickly of issues affecting them and been able to take action very, very quickly. And people be able to kind of look at third parties as well and kind of be made aware of incidents affecting the third parties that they deal with before they're being we're telling them before the third party is. So we are getting on this data very, very quickly, and we are able to let our clients get the data they need when they need it.
And really looking at it's a fraction of a lot of companies' IT and security budgets. So we do pride ourselves on being as affordable as possible and providing the value that we bring as well. So if anyone would like to know more, please do go and have a look on the website, sosintel.co.uk, and you can book a demonstration with one of the team very easily. There's a number of buttons, banners, you can do that and just click and book a time convenient to you. We do have a wonderful blog, a lot of articles written by Daniel himself, which is on sosintel.co.uk/blog. And you can also sign up for the newsletter as well to know about any of the new reports or articles that are coming out, some of the investigations that we write about, and of course, the next webinar as well. So all that leaves me to do is, Daniel, thank you so much for your time again, and an invaluable look at steganography.
Thank you very much, John.
And thank you for everybody tuning in from wherever you are. It's lovely to see so many people here. And if you would like to get in touch with us, don't hesitate. We're here to help and hopefully be there to help with the sadly ever increasing cyber threats that we all face. We will see you next time. Daniel, I'll see you very soon. And thank you again, everybody, for listening and watching.